Are you ready for some football? Remember that adage. Today it's, are you ready for some camping? Welcome, my name is Bruce Lindy. I'm the Jayco Towable Sales Manager at Vaught RV, and we wanted to welcome you to our lot and show you the Jayco Jay Flight SLX 264 bunkhouse. One key feature that I always want to say that's paramount when looking at the Jay Flight is the 2-year factory warranty. Most of my competitors have a 1-year warranty. This is the best and most superior warranty in the industry and is a great indication of the quality and how the construction of the build is handled. If you look up front, we have an area for propane bottles to provide source of power for the stove, the oven, and the refrigerator. These are two 20-pound bottles. We have a manual crank jack. If you wanted to have a power crank jack, that can be replaced for ease of operation before the delivery occurs, and then with a push of a button, that would go up and down. We will also supply a 12-volt marine battery that would sit in a box right here on this storage area, and that provides 12-volt power to all the batteries, and if there were slides, it would operate the slides. One key nice feature to protect this investment for you while you're traveling and when you get ready for resale is the diamond plate that goes all the way across the front on the lower extreme. That protects the unit from any rocks or chips and keeps that wonderful unit great. The Jay Flight, just for you to know statistically, has been the #1 selling trailer for Vaught RV as well as Jayco. And one other key thing that gives you an indication on what product you might want to buy when you're looking at competitors is a #1 seller. A lot of competitors have a #1 seller for their dealer or their manufacturer, but the Jay Flight line in general has been the #1 selling trailer in America for 15 straight years, and that's based on retail registrations. So it has a great track record, and every single year that distance between itself and the competitor is growing. So why not come on board and be part of that? You can check these out just as a reminder as we go through this video that all of these are available on our website at vaughrv.com, and you can reach out to me at any time or any of my sales staff. My email is blindy@vaughrv.com. Let's continue with our walkthrough. A lot of people are concerned on what kind of storage a trailer has, and some of these smaller trailers have limited storage. But you're going to be shocked when I show you the complete storage on this baby because it has actually more storage than a 32-foot trailer. Let's slide over to the side here and take a look at this side storage compartment. And one unique feature you're going to see once I open this door and latch it, as we peer in, you have full pass-through storage, so it's readily accessible for your awning rods, but you could add fishing poles, volleyball poles, oars for your kayak or canoe. So all your things you're going to do this fall when you get to the campground, hiking, swimming, fishing, all of this storage is available. One other thing, just peering back in here and looking to the left, this pass-through storage is connected to the underneath of the queen bed. A lot of people will have an instance where they'll say, hey, this doesn't have enough storage for hanging wardrobe inside. Now you can hang your slacks, blouses if you're taking them, and any other gear inside. Underneath, as you'll see when we get inside, there's places for Tupperware tubs to put all your socks, underwear, and linens. Now back to the outside, as we look, there's stabilizer jacks. They're manual on this particular SLX unit. There's one in each corner. Again, these are stabilizers. To give you a little education 101 dummies here, the key between a stabilizer and a leveler is a stabilizer is only put down to secure it so it won't rock as much. If you need to change a tire or lift it, it'd have to be a leveling jack. These are not strong enough for that, so we want you to make sure you're not trying to lift and lower. With this, you only put it down to the ground once it's level to stabilize so it doesn't rock and roll. One key advantage with this, if you're not into the cranking, you can take a 12-volt cordless drill with a socket bit, put it on this tip, and we do this in shows, and now you basically have power jacks. Bzzz, and I just saved you about $500 to $600. You're very welcome. Let's move on some more and look down the side of this unit. And again, we want to emphasize the warranty. I mentioned before the 2-year factory warranty. The critical word in the warranty is factory. Everyone else, all of my competitors, other than maybe 1 or 2, have a 1-year factory warranty. Many will say they have a 3-year warranty. That's on the structure, which is the main steel frame. Everyone has the exact same warranty on that. There's no separation in difference there. The key on this, again, is the 2-year. If you want the best built, best quality, least maintenance, best customer satisfaction trailer, you're looking at the Jayco Jay Flight. Moving on, we have a great, wonderful power awning. So on a hot summer day that you have in Texas, if you want some sunshade, a little bit of light drizzle shade, this power awning will open out 8 feet. And one key note here, unlike a lot of my competitors that put a lot of holes in the side of the unit, instead of having stereo speakers on the walls, they're in the motor head mounts up at the very top. So you have music outside. If you care to watch your favorite TV program, whether it's NASCAR, you want to watch a fishing event, you want to replay a football game, I mean, you're doing all those wonderful things in an outside environment. We'll slide by here and turn past the door. There's a stud marker right here. A bracket with a TV will slide onto that stud marker. To the side is your electrical power connections, as well as your cable and satellite. So you could either watch a TV program, or if you have satellite system, you could bring your satellite receiver, and at the same time you could put in a movie, DVD, I mean with your sweetheart or your kids, you could watch a movie under the stars. When this awning opens, even at nighttime, there's a full lit LED light strip on the underneath portion of the awning, so you have illumination at nighttime as well. The next thing I'd like to show you is the steps. A lot of units have the old style that's been around for 40 years, the steel steps. You have to fold them up. You sometimes can pinch your fingers. You have to grease them. You have to tuck them under. If you go into a low terrain, you could possibly hit those, damage them. There's the new step above steps by Moride. I'm going to first open the entry door because I want to show how these function, as well as tell you a few benefits about them. Another thing I like to say is there's no good feature unless there's a benefit. These have huge benefits. If you remember the old steel steps, once you tried to step up on them, one thing that could happen if you were not in the center and you stepped on one edge, it could bend, you could lose your balance, it could then be broken, and a lot of things happen to the steps. If you see me get on these steps, they're firm, they're solid, and they're gonna take care of you for many, many, many years to come. One other key benefit of these steps, as you can see me lifting them, they have individual feet and legs that are adjustable in length. So when you're first leveling this unit, you can take these legs and extend them so that when putting this down, if one side's a ½ inch longer than the other, you now have even terrain for your steps. So there's a great feature there. Also, I had mentioned that they would get tucked up underneath, and potentially on low terrain you could hit something. These you just lift, excuse me. You have to make sure your screen door is fully open, otherwise this could damage your screen door when you try to close it. You want to maximize trying to do efforts that will keep your unit in great physical shape. You shut this, you push, you heard a little pop. This has an auto-locking latch. This blue lever is the release of the latch. This is now fully inside. You can take your door, shut, nothing underneath, all clean. When you get ready to open up again, just open the door, make sure it's fully open, take this blue tab, push it fully to the right, take your hand on the steps. Now, one thing you want to make sure you do here is a safety feature that a lot of people have had problems with on the get-go, is not securing this in their hand. If it was a bigger step and you're underneath and you let go, you could get a conk on the noggin. We want to make sure we're staying safe. We're going to enjoy our trip. We're going to go hiking, swimming, do all those good things. Just take it with two hands, support your back weight, bend down, put it to the ground. This is all securely screwed to the floor inside, so it's a great device to have, and you'll enjoy using that for years. One other thing that's real easy about Jayco when you're shopping that I wanted to point out is on this screen door. A lot of people talk about weights and what are the weights and how do the weights come into play. A lot of people don't understand the weights. Well, there's three particular weights you need to keep in mind, and I like to talk about right up front when somebody says, I don't know what my truck can pull and I don't know what the trailer has to weigh. Well, I'm going to give you a little advice and some variables that have worked for me great over my 20-year career. The first thing you want to know is what the actual weight of the trailer is. As it came off the factory line, with the options that are on board, with empty holding tanks, and with full propane. That particular weight with those exact entities is called the unloaded vehicle weight, or UVW. The RV nickname is dry weight. So that's the first most important weight, but when you're matching your truck, if you haven't bought it, or if you already have it, you still need to know one other thing. What is the cargo carrying capacity? That's the amount of cargo you can put in this on top of that dry weight or UVW to get what's called the GVWR. That's the gross vehicle weight rating. Now I'll give you an example off of this sticker. The dry weight of this unit is 4,782 pounds. That's again the weight of this unit with all the furniture and appliances inside, assuming empty holding tanks like your water, gray water, and black water, and full propane. Because if you're dry camping, you may not put anything else in it, and that's going to be your starting weight. But then here it also tells you that this unit will allow 1,218 pounds of cargo. So now if you wanted to fill your water because you were going to go dry camping, which could be about 350 pounds, you know you still have about 850 pounds left for clothes, food, appliances to be able to enhance that trip, get where you're going, and not exceed the GVWR. Now let's talk that GVWR again, gross vehicle weight rating. If you didn't know, that's the maximum weight the axles can handle before they would potentially fail. So we know from common sense we don't want to exceed that value. So if you want to take the house, you have to reconsider. We have to put some things aside and take some other things that are going to be more important for this trip. So we're doing it right, enjoying the experience, and making sure we don't, hurt the transmission on the truck or some other part of the chassis, get it down the road and get back safely. Before we finish, I'll talk some more about some other things to enhance the trip that go along with the trailer in regards to possibly like a brake control or weight distribution. I have a lot of questions about that. I want to cover that also. One small thing that's here that a lot of people miss that maybe all trailers have but you'll really enjoy is how about your simple screen door? If you're going to have a nice breeze during the day and you don't have the air conditioner on, you've got a little side panel. Now you have a screen door, you can get cross ventilation throughout the entire unit, keeps the bugs out. If you have the little ones crawling on the floor wanting to get out and play, it keeps them inside too. Just some key feature that's there. And if you turn here as well, we have a little latch on the back. A lot of people sometimes when they're not familiar with Jayco or any other trailer, the first time they look, they say, what's this latch? For some of them, there's also one back here. If you look at this storage compartment, when this door's shut, people say, well, what's this latch? Well, there's a latch everywhere to help keep a door open so it doesn't hit you in the head, but also so the wind doesn't bang it around and it makes your enjoyment better. This just has a little tab back here. You pop it in there. Now, if you want that door open all the time and it's not banging around, it's secure. The next thing I want to move to that separates Jayco for your experience from the competitors and is really critical to every operation of driving down the road is going to be the wheels and tires. The wheels on these are steel wheels. In a higher end Jay Flight, they would be aluminum wheels, but the real key is the tires. Almost all of my competitors that have a 1-year warranty are going to have a 1-year warranty Chinese tire. If you're not familiar with what the difference between a Chinese tire and an American-made tire is, get on YouTube, check all the videos, Google whatever you can. Cambered tire, Chinese tire. There's been a lot of experiences out there where these tires overheat within less than 5 months and you have to replace them. Well, why not do it right the first time? And what I mean by that is Jayco steps way above and beyond what the other competitors do, and they go right to the best tire there is in the industry. These are the Goodyear tires, American made, and I didn't know it before, but there's also a Chinese made Goodyear tire, and they're the endurance tire. The difference is these come with a 6-year factory warranty. I mean, that's amazing, but they're not done there. Another thing that separates me from all of my competitors is Jayco also down in these wheel wells behind the tires that you may not be able to see completely, but is there, is 70 inches of steel in the wheel well. You may ask, what does that matter? Why do I need that? You do need it, because if you're driving down the road, even with the best tire in America, and you hit some road debris that shreds this tire, in all my competitors, and I've even seen it on consignments that have come in, the entire underneath is shredded and it can come up through the wiring and possibly even through your floor. With the steel that's in here, now you just make a small insurance claim and replace the fender skirt and the tire, and you're back on the road, and it's preserved the integrity of your unit. Another step that Jayco's done to go above and beyond what our competitors are doing. One other thing, since we were talking about the bottom of the unit near the tires, is the underbelly. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the variances that the underbelly can come. I'll give you a little 101 again. Most units, if they're entry level in the price point of the Jay Flight, they're going to have they're not going to have an enclosed underbelly. You may say, why does that matter to have an enclosed underbelly? Does that mean it's heated? Well, no. Again, we'll go back to some Dummies 101. It has really nothing to do that it's necessarily heated, but there's some other key factors of a benefit. On all of our units that we order for our inventory, we enclose the underbelly, and I'll tell you why. Number one, it's a smoother surface, so there's much less wind drag. You're going to get better fuel efficiency pulling that unit. Number two, no road debris can come up, damage your wiring, damage your holding tanks. And number three, guess who else wants to get out of the rain just like you and your little kids? All the bugs, all the mice. So if there's not an enclosed underbelly and the caulking comes loose from going down the road and that unit getting shaken all over the place, the bugs and mice could come in. I've many times gone and used units that were traded in and seen bugs all over. You look underneath, no enclosed underbelly. It's only a $150 option, but a lot of dealers are selling price. We're building a relationship with you. We want to sell you something that you'll best enjoy the unit and might even give you a little better resale down the road. So I believe an enclosed underbelly is a huge beneficial thing, and I hope you do as well. Let's move back further on the unit. Here's another one of these clips I was talking about. Somebody that's a novice would say, well, I don't know what that's there for. But you remember I talked earlier about the storage in the front connected to the underneath of the queen bed? Well, we're not done there. Even though this is a 26 model number, that's basically 29'3" tip to tip, and I'll talk just a minute about length as well. I'm going to add to the storage. Inside on this particular floor plan are 2 stacked doubles next to the back rear bathroom, and because they're double bunks and there's no outside kitchen, guess what this is going to give you when I open the door? A monstrous storage compartment where you could put an outside grill, small bikes, that volleyball set, your hiking gear, fishing tackle boxes, anything you want to do, you add this to the front pass-through storage, the underneath of the queen. And if you didn't know, there's even storage under the booth dinette bench seats. Huge, huge storage, unsurpassable in the industry, and more than any 32 or 35 foot trailer. As we move back further on the unit, this is the water heater. It's a 6-gallon. One bonus that's going to be in the SLX that you won't see in my competitors' units in this price point is the functionality of this. And what I mean by that is a basic 6-gallon water heater is going to be gas only. And you may say, well, that's okay. Well, guess what? If you're low on propane and you're at a campground, you need to run the furnace or the stove. Which one is going to be the priority to run? But if in a Jay Flight, they're gas or electric. And if you didn't know, some more Dummies 101, for the price of your stay at a campground, predominantly you have unlimited power, unlimited water, and unlimited cable TV. So you'd want to be able to have that functionality to switch over to electric and preserve that propane when you need it for the other sources that only run off of that fuel source. One other thing about this water heater is not only is it 6-gallon, you may say, well, that's very small. I can't take my 30-minute shower. Well, you shouldn't be doing that camping anyway. You're going to run out of water, but you're not going to run out of hot water because Jayco's put in a 6-gallon that acts the same as an 18-gallon quick recovery. So that functionality with the new technology that's abundant out there, going to give you more water, more hot water, I should say. As we move to the back, one thing as we're on the corner here, before I talk to you about the ladder, I want to talk to you about something new Jayco has, and I don't know if you've heard about the smart lighting. It's a patent-pending lighting system that only Jayco has, only Jayco can give you for a safety standpoint. Basically how this works is, with my competitors, if you turn on a right turn signal, basically one light at the top will come on indicating your turn intention. Okay, that's adequate, I'll give it that. But what if somebody's on the side of your unit and can't see the back light and you're trying to come over a lane? Well, with Jayco, not only do you have the back light that my competitors have, but all the lights that are down the side plus another light on the top right corner are going to come on and give your intention to turn or change lanes. Now you have 5 or 6 lights on versus 1, much safer. You can maneuver lanes, you can do other things and do it safely. Something brand new. One other thing that's an option we put on all the units that many of our competitors don't is a ladder. Very basic item. You may say, why do I even have a ladder? I'm not going to go up on the roof, or why would I need to go up on the roof? Well, there's a couple instances you'd need to go up on the roof. Number one, if you ever have an air conditioning issue, the air conditioner's on the roof. You need to get up there. I'd rather have a ladder built into the unit, coming from the factory, warranted by the factory, installed by the factory, and supported by the factory. You take your little favorite ladder, you lean it up against, it's not stable, it scrapes and scratches your unit, you've got some problems, but you need to be able to get up there to service your air conditioner. If it needs Freon, if heaven forbid it needs to be replaced, you want to do that. Also with the surface of the roof up there, which is called TPO, I'll give you a breakdown of what TPO is. I know you've heard of rubber, you've heard of vinyl, you've heard of fiberglass, but on all of these, what they use is TPO, and I'll explain why. We'll go back to Dummies 101 again here. Happy to do so. TPO stands for thermal polyolefin. It's part rubber, part plastic. And the reason they use rubber, when some people say, why don't you put something up there that isn't so soft and makes so many black streaks? Well, the reason they do it is one reason that's very important. Rubber is the best form-fitting surface because it's soft and it lays in one piece soundly. They tried to bring vinyl out, it would get wrinkles, it would get cracks, it would leak. They've gone away from vinyl. But by using rubber, but also in bringing in the fact of making it part plastic, it gives the inherent properties of vinyl to where it has less chance of puncture. So it's form-fitting, less chance of puncture, but also you need to check your owner's manual as you do for preventive maintenance on anything to do with the unit. It does usually require once a year to go up on the roof safely with a gallon of cleaner conditioner. You can buy it from us, you could buy it online. It's approximately around $50. You could bring it into your favorite dealership, Vaught RV, we'll do it for you for basically an hour labor. And that's gonna help keep that rubber soft. That's absolutely critical as much as it is changing oil in your truck or your car. You know what happens? You go 5, 6, 7 years and your car's supposed to have the oil changed every 3, and after 10 years you hear tick, tick, tick. Now you gotta spend $3,000 for a new engine. You're gonna do, you'd have to do the same here. If you don't go up and condition that roof and keep that rubber soft, inherent from the factory, it has a 12-year warranty. But that's only mandated that you go up there once a year, put the cleaner conditioner on, smooth it out. It's basically just laid down in a gallon jug and you mop it on. Once that's done and you keep record log of that, you maintain a 12-year warranty. If you don't do it, basically in essence what's going to happen is the sun's going to treat that rubber like a pencil eraser in your fingers. As you rub your fingers, that pencil eraser deteriorates. Your rubber does the same thing. Pretty soon all you see is a black surface, the rubber's gone, you go to get it fixed, you talk to your favorite dealer, you say I don't know what happened. They say it's going to be about $100 a running foot. If this is almost 30 foot, just the rubber to lay down, assuming there's no water damage now, is about $3,000, which you could have prevented with $50 a year of preventive maintenance. So now that's the other reason you want to get up there. If a unit had a slide out, you'd also need to sweep off the slide out to get the leaves, the pine cones, pine needles off, so that slide would shut and seal tight and not eat the rubber seal and then leak over time. Let's continue to move on. One other thing that, believe it or not, some units don't have that I've even sold before, where I've been at a dealer with multiple entities, is a spare tire. And some say, I bet that's just a knockoff tire, right? No, we can take this cover off. This is a Goodyear tire as well, so you have 5 Goodyear tires. So heaven forbid you blow a tire, you can get that replaced and be back on the road and operate. One other thing I want to point out that's on all of the SLXs, some other competitors may or may not do this, is a backup camera prep. Now you may say, why isn't the camera there? Well, the Jay Flight SLX is a price point entity where we're trying not to make it a full Jay Flight, which is basically loaded. This is more a stripped down unit with great space, great warranty for the budget buyer. With that in mind, I still have the philosophy, I'm going back to Dummies 101 again with you, I'd rather have everything I can done at the factory as it's built for multiple reasons. And these are the reasons. Number 1, cleaner, smoother process. Number 2, warranted by the factory. Number 3, cheaper. Try to price something aftermarket that they can do at the factory. It's going to be double or triple the cost. If you didn't know it, pocket that right now. So this is pre-wired for the backup camera. If you decided on a backup camera, we would install the actual camera and there'd be a video monitor that's mounted on the dash of your truck or SUV. You have the option to get a video screen in size anywhere from 4.3 inches to 7 inches, and it's wired in remotely so that you can back up. One thing, I'm going to give you another Dummies 101, guys. When you're backing up, I know you're the greatest backer in the world. You maybe done it 100 times. Get a physical spotter back there with you. Extra safety precaution. But I've even had a gentleman tell me when I did a 35-foot diesel pusher drive around about 10 years ago, hey Sonny, I've backed up more campers than you'll ever drive in your life, and he hit a telephone pole. We're all human, we all have the human factor, let's be safe, let's continue to move on. One important thing about the outside again is, if you didn't know it, Dummies 101 again, almost all of your major connections are always going to be down the driver's side. When you get to a campground, when you pull in, most of your sites are going to be set up so that we can do what I call, this is Bruce's nickname, the plug and go. If you remember when I said you get to a campground, you have unlimited power, unlimited cable, and unlimited water. So let's explain the differences in water and some of the other entities as we go down this left side with all the connections. One unique thing that Jayco has that some of my competitors don't is if you get to a campground, they're going to give you unlimited cable. Okay, everybody has that. How many of them are going to give you a satellite hookup? Some have it, some don't. Jayco always gives you a little bit more. This way, instead of just the coax, you're going to have an RG6. We all know that if they have a satellite feed, that picture's a little less snowy. It's going to be a little sharper and crisper picture, a little better TV experience. The next thing is our dump station. One thing that separates a camper from a car and everything else, where most people say, yeah, I know how to operate everything, I'm in an apartment and all that. You don't have to dump your waste in your apartment or your home that I know of, unless you have an outhouse out back. But how that works basically is you have holding tanks. You're going to have a freshwater holding tank, which is called potable water. You're going to have a gray water holding tank, which is basically the water you put down the sink or the shower. And then you're going to have a black holding tank, which is the water and solid wastes, which is the key thing there. Remember, solid wastes go into your black tank. When you're going to dump these, whether it's leaving the campground or at home, preferably at the campground because they have a sewage dump station, you want to do that. You don't want to dump your solid waste just onto the ground somewhere, because with the Texas heat, the smell, it also might be against the law, I'm not sure. But anyway, you have a dump station down here, and with every dump station, there's what are called pull valves. There's a valve here for the black tank, which is indicated by the black pull valve itself. The gray tank has a gray pull valve also, and these valves are called low point drain. They're the drain for your freshwater potable water, which is your holding tank water that you can put water in, so when you're driving down the road, you could either brush your teeth or flush the toilet. If you're going to a campground, here's two different scenarios. You don't want to fill your fresh water because that's 350 pounds of weight you're pulling down the road just to get unlimited water at a campground. The only time I suggest you really fill your fresh water is if you're going to dry camp and you're not going to have any access to water to plug in. This way you have the most water you can. One thing that we will provide you is a sewage hose and water hose through a $50 gift certificate. So if you already have those, you can use that for something else, or you can upgrade those hoses. And then when you have the sewage hose, it just, one end connects onto here, the other end will connect onto the septic. And then what you do, always want to remember this. Here we go, Dummies 101 again. You always want to pull the black valve first. You may say why, and you may already have this answer if you're experienced. There's solid waste in there. Another key indicator of how well you're going to do at dumping these tanks is how full your tanks are. So another Dummies 101 is you want to try to dump your tanks with the maximum fill that's in there so that you have the most pressure by gravity to get all of that debris out. Then the reason you're dumping the black tank first is there'll be some solid waste that could get stuck in this tube. Once you see that all has come out from the best you can see and shaking the hose, you then close that valve and you want to open the gray. The gray has all water with no solid waste. It will help flush this tube. And the reason you want to flush this tube is because if solid wastes are still in there, you could have some back vapors come up through the toilet with an unpleasant smell. You can also buy chemicals to put down into the toilet. Some more Dummies 101. A great enhancement thing is to go to your parts department at Vaught RV, talk to that professional that's at the parts display counter. He'll tell you about chemicals, surge suppressors, everything under the sun you may not think of that could really enhance your trip and make it wonderful. One thing you're going to ask me is, how do I know how full my tanks are? Do I just guess? I don't know how much water I put down there. Well, that's a great indicator of being a new novice, but I'll help you with that. As I stand back up, once we get inside, there's a monitor display panel where you can push a button and it'll show you your tank levels from empty, quarter, 3/4, and full to know how much is in those tanks. Okay, the next thing is the outside shower. I've got a funny little story. A lady came in one time and she says to me, "This is the shower?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, it's your outside shower." And she says, "So this is the only place I can shower?" I said, "No, ma'am, no, ma'am. There is a shower inside. This is actually in case you're muddy from hiking, swimming, you're maybe digging up some worms to go fishing, whatever you're doing, or you have the dog out there, you want to give them a bath, you catch that fish, you want to clean it, you don't want all the scales inside. This is basically a 3-foot long plastic hose with hot and cold water connected to the potable water fresh holding tank, and it also has a water pump. So when you turn these knobs, you can now have water out here you can clean off so you don't track all the mud inside, get everything taken care of, and move on. Just so you know, for the power, again, this is part of the plug and go at the campground. We already had this cable satellite. Now we have the power. Next will be the water. If you didn't know, this is a 30 amp 110 power source. Okay, some more Dummies 101. That's the proper power. At home, you don't have that. It's a lesser power. You still can operate lights and maybe one air for a short period of time, but the preferred is 30 amp 110. You may ask, what if I go to a campground and it's 50 amp? Well, we can give you a plug adapter that will downgrade the 50 amp to 30 amp. And by doing so, now you have the proper power scenario all set up. This also will just tuck right back inside your camper. I'm not going to run it all the way in, but some you have to carry a big hose, you have to fold it up, it's been laying on the ground, it's all muddy, you got to have storage compartment area to put that hose away. And now with this one, you just tuck it in, you pop down that flap, and off you go. This will pull out 25 to 30 feet. You can plug it in at the campground, your power pole, your water, and everything should be right there at your campground site. This here is the back of your refrigerator. You may say, why do you even have this here? We don't really need to open it. I can, I guess. But what's important to here is if you go in, well, actually, yeah, you can do various things with like a motherboard or adjustments to the refrigerator, because sometimes those are all that have to be fixed. You don't have to take physically the entire refrigerator out. Next is what's called the city water. The other one I told you about, which was a holding tank water called potable water, you'd fill up for dry camping, or if you need to use the toilet or brush your teeth or something just driving down the road. This is once you get to a campground. We're going to give you a water hose, or a gift certificate for the water hose, I should actually say, to where you can buy the appropriate one at the appropriate length you think is right for you, because they come in various lengths, anywhere from 15 to 50 foot. Once this is connected to the water at the campground and to the trailer, it will bypass and preserve the potable water in the freshwater holding tank. The great thing about that is that while you're traveling then again to come home, you'll have water in your holding tank you can use to flush the toilet, and you can run this and it'll send water to every faucet within the unit, and again bypass that holding tank water. This is just the vent from the stove area. All of the windows are fully insulated and tinted safety glass, just so you know. The nice thing is, as you look in, you can see a silhouette, but if you were inside, it's almost like one-way glass. When you look out, you can see a person in full detail and clear, but they can't see too much of you, but these all will have shades inside that I'll go over and show you about as well. This is the potable water, freshwater tank that I told you about, that you would put water in from home so that you have water while you travel. As you can see right here on this tag, it says potable water. And then there's another low point drain to release that water as well. This is just your furnace exhaust. Also going down, there's a couple other little things. Some of them don't have, and customers always ask, they ask, what's that little thing hanging off the top up here on the corner? And we have them on all four corners. They're basically just a water feed to get the water away from the side of the unit, because any water from the roof could be dirty, and when it comes down, it's going to be unattractive and plus a lot more for you to clean. But it gets that little water spout, gets the water away from the unit, so it falls basically down, and it's a little easier for you to clean. That pretty much covers the outside of the unit. Let's move inside and go over some of the features we'll see there. Okay, let's see some of the features now of the inside of this Jay Flight SLX 264BH. One thing I want to get right back to that I talked about outside, if you recall, we'll do a little refresher. I showed you the full pass-through storage for either awning rods, fishing poles, boat oars, anything else, coupled with the back under double bunk storage for your grills, whatever else, balls and things you want to put in there. Gave a great amount of storage. But I did allude to when we looked through the full pass-through storage that it connected to the underneath of the queen bed. So with the wardrobe that's on the side of both of these, and I'll get over here to open that, you can look at that wardrobe. And then there's wardrobe here. Some say, wow, that's so limited. Well, I'm going to give you a solution to that. What we'll do here, number one, is we're going to lift the bed. And a lot of my competitors, when you lift the bed, it really wears on your back because they don't have anything to support you opening this. But what Jayco has done, if you notice, they've got gas struts under here on the bed. So the bed lifts up very easy. It'll also stay up 100% by itself. Also, once you look under here, this front compartment I call the inside storage. The full pass-through is the longer portion in the front nose. What I suggest, so that you have adequate wardrobe, you get Tupperware tubs. You can put your socks, underwear, and other linen items here, and then back up to the top again, you have hanging wardrobe for slacks and some shorts. Even across the top, they have a shelf. You could put some hats, sunglasses, gloves, whatever's necessary up there. One other thing I want to show you that separates us from our competition, I'm going to pull this bedspread up, and by the way, this is an option you also get. That's my fun little tip. Is look at the name on here. I don't know if you can make this out, but it says Serta. Some of them say Simmons. You recognize that as a home residential mattress type. A lot of our competitors are going to put in a foam mattress. You lay on it once, you feel a couple crinks, and it's dented or it has a slot in the mattress. This is actually a residential mattress on an entry-level unit. I believe that's impressive. So one other thing that is very important that I see in Jayco all the time that I don't see in my competitors, especially if you have an alarm clock, you have CPAP, or other things that require electrical connections, is wherever there's a nightstand. You can see there's an electrical outlet on this side, If you switch over to the other side, there's an electrical outlet on this side. Also in the kitchen area, I'll show you, there's 2 or 3. Under the booth, there's 1, and even back by the bunk areas, there's 1. I've gone in some units and there's 1 electrical outlet. You're like, how do you plug in your things? You may want to plug in your laptop, you may want to recharge your phone, you want to put in whatever else that needs to be plugged in, and you have limited electrical hookups. So with this unit, that's not an issue. Another thing is the lighting system. This might be synonymous with all of them, but it is especially so with Jayco. They have LED lights all the way throughout. The advantage of those is they burn longer and they burn softer. So that's really important. You don't want to be inside the unit and have it be real hot. And since we're talking about whether it's going to be hot or not, let's just turn and focus a little bit if we could and point that camera up to the ceiling. We have ducted air. You might say everyone has ducted air, but one thing not everyone else has. A lot of my dealers and competitors around me sell price. And when they sell price, that air conditioner standard is going to be a 13,500 BTU. What state do we live in? Texas. Where is it located? In the extreme south. What happens here in the summer? It gets hot. Don't you want the biggest air? We're going to order all the units with you in mind, not our price point in mind. We're going to give you the air conditioner that'll take the best care of you. All of our air that we order are upgraded to 15,000 BTU. The biggest air you can put in here. So one thing you can do as you first walk into this unit, there's a little tab right here on the air conditioner. And if it was shut like that and you're really hot, you can open this. And I've nicknamed it with my own RV slang, and I call it the gusher, because air gushes out of here and can cool you off real fast when you come in from hiking, swimming, whatever you're doing. And you can really enjoy feeling cool right off the bat with the strongest airflow that's out there. Now let's say you're comfortable, but you're going to move around in the unit. You take this tab and push it to the right. Now it's going to force all the air through the various ducts throughout the unit so that you're comfortable. Also, these ducts can be turned. Some units you can't. So you can force the flow to an exact area wherever you're sitting. Another thing we see here is you have stereo speakers throughout the unit. It does have an AM, FM, CD, DVD, and that's basically up here on the wall. Some may only have an AM, FM radio, and you're going to ask also, is it Bluetooth? Yes, they are Bluetooth. Also in the same general area is marking a stud location for where a bracket could be placed and a TV. And some say, how come there's not a TV in here? Well, again, this is our price point leader. We know the price of TVs. You can go to Walmart and buy a good TV for a couple $100 if you want to add one. But a lot of times we're emphasizing get away from TVs, get away from DVDs, get away from your laptops. You're supposed to bond with family, go out and see nature, hike, relax, de-stress, get that brain focused again. Sometimes it's good to maybe get away from some of the technology. But a couple things I want to show you about construction quality. My competitors emphasize a big refrigerator, a big bed, a big mirror. Anybody can do that, but a few things Jayco does that my competitors don't, and I want to point out. Let's talk about booth construction. I'm going to move this cushion here down for one reason. Most of my competitors, when I see a trade-in come in, I can take this booth and shake it everywhere because it's basically a joint to the unit with one staple. If you look, these have steel plates with screws. So all of these are screwed and glued. Also, if you look up to the top in the cabinets as well, these are all screwed and glued cabinets. They're not stapled. That's how your house is built. That's the type of trailer we want to give you. You could actually hang from these cabinets. I weigh 175 pounds and I could hang from these cabinets and they would not pull off the wall. Some of the others would come down. Floor construction. If you didn't know it, there's an easy way to tell what your floor is made of. Everyone will maybe say they have plywood, maybe they do, but I know a lot of them, if you open the brochure, it says OSB, structure wood. Do you know what those are fancy terms for? Particle board. A lot of competitors will say they have particle board because it has a 25-year warranty. I'm not fond of it because when it gets wet, it's basically oatmeal and it swells. My house is built out of plywood. I want my trailer built out of the same material. And you say, with all this linoleum, how can you even tell? Well, somebody told me a little story one time, a little Dummies 101 here for you, of a telltale way to check. Come back over here by the bed, take the bedspread, flip it up, and now just take the mattress and flip it up. What do you see here on the pedestal of this queen bed? Plywood. So that's what your floor is made of too. So if the next place you go, they say it's plywood, and you remember, Bruce told me to check this, look here, if you see particle board, guess what's there? We just, again, want to give you the best quality materials and make sure you can enjoy the experience. One other thing that I wanted to mention, besides that TV location over there, there is a TV location, if we step back over here, in the bedroom with ceiling connections for power and cable, and there's even a bracket already on the wall to mount your TV if you prefer to be able to watch TV in the bedroom at the same time. A couple safety features I'd like to go over real quick that are here. We have a smoke alarm here. So if there happens to be a fire, smoke is going to rise, so it's going to set off that alarm so you can safely get out. Based on that smoke alarm, stepping back to the bedroom, besides this main entry door, you can see an exit marker over by this window. And the reason it's got that there is because whenever there's a red handle, that's a safety glass that can be pushed out completely so you could exit this unit safely as an extra safety device. So I want you to know about the safety precautions. As we were talking about storage, I want to show you quickly another storage thing. As we lift this sofa up, which happens to be a jackknife, there's two types of sofas. One's called a jackknife, which means it just lifts and lowers like that, to be a single bed for one. If there's adequate space and it will lift and pull all the way out, that's called a hide-a-bed, where possibly 2 adults or 2 kids could sleep more comfortably. But what I wanted to show you is with this sofa halfway up, if you look underneath here, half of this area is storage. You have your furnace over to the side, but again, now adding to the bed, the back bunk, and this area, that could be some more Tupperware for some linens, tools, extra things you want to take along. We're just continually adding to the storage. And then this sofa goes right back down. Another safety feature right here on the side that I wanted to show you is a propane leak detector. Propane's invisible, and because it's a gas, you may think that it's going to go up to the ceiling. It actually doesn't. It pools to the ground. So if you have a leaky propane fitting, you want to know that you can get everyone out and be safe. That alarm will go off. One other dummy use 101 thing is you have to have a strong battery. If your battery is low or weak, this won't work properly, but it will also beep with a red alarm telling you something's operating correctly. So you want to get that fixed and looked into. Let me just fix this cushion here and pick up this cushion. And now I'm going to step back over to this side to show you something we talked about for outside when we were going to dump tanks. And remember, the question arose that how am I going to know what my tank levels are? Well, you have a monitor panel right here. And if you look closely, it does two things. It'll not only tell you the tank levels, it's also going to tell you the battery levels. And when you want to know battery, there's a little colored button that says battery. You push that, it lights up red, showing that the battery is fully charged. Here's fresh water, which is your potable water tank. You hit that, it's empty. We don't put water in till the unit's sold, so that's how you can tell whether you have proper amount of water you want to take with you, whether you're dry camping or you're boondocking. The next one is going to be the black tank, which is your solid waste or toilet. That's showing empty. That's good. You want it to be empty. And then gray water is the same thing. So through those buttons, you can figure out your tank levels, your battery levels at any point while you're getting ready to go on your trip or home, if you want to put it in storage and make sure those tanks are empty, because you always want to have empty tanks when you're home. The other thing I told you about was the water heater. And remember I had said our competition has possibly gas only in this price point? Well, you can see a switch here. It says LP gas, but also says electric. So wherever you're at, you can switch it at any time to get it on the appropriate source to preserve your propane. Anytime you're going to bring water up to any of the faucets, you need to also turn on your water pump. That's the pump that's connected to that potable water in the freshwater holding tank, so it'll bring water up. And other than that, we basically have some more electrical outlets, as I mentioned. There's one here, and I did mention a lot of times there's one under the booth. If you look in the back corner under the booth, there's an electrical outlet there as well. Now let's talk a little bit about sleeping configurations. This is a bunkhouse, 26 model number. A lot of people say, is it 26 foot long overall? No, that's incorrect. The only way you really have a true length on any camper is you have to put a tape measure on it, to be honest. But basically the way the RV industry has worked for many, many years, the first two digits are a close approximation of the living space. You have to add 3 to 4 feet for the battery, the propane, the hitch, and possibly either the bumper or the ladder on the back. This one's a little over 29 foot. But for 29 foot and no slide out and 8 foot wide with 6.5 foot ceilings and 4,700 pounds, this will sleep the whole family and possibly part of the cousins and uncles and everything else too. And how I come up with that number, obviously you can sleep 2 in the queen, a minimum of 1 here. Also, this table will come off these poles that are here, go straight down onto the running rails, And then once that's down, these outside cushions, you have to have a little imagination with me here. This is now down off of the poles on the running rails. This makes a bed for 1 or 2 kids. But then when you step back here comes the big bonus. In the past we had single bunks, and as kids grew and became teenagers or adults wanted to go, there wasn't enough room. Manufacturers have come out with the double bunk setup, which allows either one large person or 2 kids here, 2 kids here. We start doing the math. We got 2, 3, 4, 6, minimum of 8 people can go. A little comparison with my competitors again here too. Most of them in the 1-year warranty configuration put in a smaller cushion that's only 2 inch. This is 4 inch. Most of their weight rating is 150, 300. These are 300, 600. So again, always stepping up, doing a little bit more than most of our competitors. And if you step back here a little further and look over to the corner, if you want to recharge your phone, you also can have USB charging ports to recharge phones. You have additional plug-ins that are there. There's air conditioning in this top bunk. And then the weight ratings are basically right here on the bunks in the lower portion that show the 300, 600. Also, if we lift this cushion and you want access to that storage compartment, you even can get it from inside as well as outside. So you have easy access. And again, storage I was talking about. Let's step back over here. The underneath of both sides of the bench seat of this booth dinette are storage, and that is all the way through. So you add all of these storage areas together and it's amazing and unreal how much storage you have. Just put these bunks back. Cushions, I should say. A little bit about the appliances. They're pretty much standard. Most of the appliances are Furrion. If you're an experienced camper, you understand why they're Furrion. If not, I want to give you a little Dummies 101 again. Furrion is a contractor that only supplies appliances for the RV industry. And the reason they do so is they've adapted a method to make these that are basically armor reinforced, as I want to call it, and that's just a Bruce slang. They don't have that out on the web anywhere, but the reason I say that is they hold up better. They're reinforced in some cases for dust, moisture, vibration, magnetics, all of that, so it will last longer, because most of the appliances you have in your home, they don't go down the road and get thrown all over the place again, as we've been talking about. These will last longer. This is your standard 3-burner stove with a glass cover that can fold away, but while it's down, now you have more counter space and you have more area to put things together. Small 17-inch oven right here. Just spark that up, that'll light right up. Standard microwave, we open that, make your popcorn, whatever else you want to quickly make in there you can. That will rotate all the way around. This is your standard refrigerator and freezer. There is an optional upgrade in some of these to the new 12-volt, 8 cubic foot, depending which one it is. You can also get those. But basically the conveniences of home, you can bring all your food and everything, and plenty of storage compartment areas to put the things. You can open all of these. And I'll tell you another little funny story. One lady said, "Boy, this door is hard to open." I said, "Thank you, ma'am." And she said, "What do you mean, thank you?" I said, "That tells you how well they're built." And she said, "Oh yeah, because I remember my parents telling me they'd go down the road and stuff would be laying on the floor because the doors wouldn't stay shut." These will stay shut. We've got your owner's manual and all those things here. A lot of these also have available to them what is called J-Command. J-Command is a computer system that's in the unit. It's synonymous mainly with the higher end units. So it may not be with this one, but other thing you can consider, if you look at one of these units, that's a system to where it's linked into your phone and you can operate within 100 to 150 feet outside the unit, whether it's the awning, the lights, the jacks, if it's pertainable, and all that makes your life a lot easier. It'll also have a control panel inside on the wall where you can just push a button to operate all the lights and things like that. You don't have to go around and push all the buttons or find the controls on the side of the wall. One other thing over to this side that I didn't mention, which is basic, but I'll still point out, this is your switch for that awning we looked at outside. Again, that'll open all the way out 8 feet. In means that it's obviously coming in, out means it's going out. One key thing, Dummies 101 again, preventive maintenance for your awning that you may not think about. If your awning's out and it's a bright, beautiful blue day and you decide you're gonna go hiking for 3 hours, don't leave that awning out. Bring that awning back in. I'll tell you why. It only takes an hour for storms to roll in, and if it has a gust front, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and you're within warranty and that awning goes up over the top of your unit, it's not covered. Your warranty only covers you on manufacturer's defect. That would not be covered. So a lot of people don't think about that up front. I've heard the stories many times. People are frustrated with the results. It only takes 30 seconds to a minute. Bring that awning in, put it back out once you're done hiking, whatever you're doing, secure your unit and make sure you're safe. So just wanted to pass that on. As we walk to the back, basically the last thing we're going to have is basically the bathroom. Tub to be able to bathe the small little ones. Still plenty of room to be able to get in and shower. Skylight in here. Also, we have a power vent fan so that you can push and pull temperature without having air conditioning on. Just need to make sure your vent cover is shut in case there's any storms or anything else. It could get wet in here. Do have a sink outside the bathroom. A lot of people like that. Some want it in the bathroom. But either way, you've got two sinks. So, I mean, wherever you're washing your hands and cutting vegetables, it's different than coming out of the restroom. Other than that, one last thing I want to show you is right back here under the refrigerator is basically the power supply for the unit. Some basic things we take for granted we need to look at and we need to understand. A little dummies 101 here is this is basically called your converter charger for the unit, and it has all of your breakers. So if your air goes out or something and you might think, oh geez, did I lose power, but you have power everywhere else, come in here and look to see if any of these breakers have tripped. Sometimes they will. You can just pop it all the way off and then back on as a safety precaution. If it actually is a fuse and you need to check the fuse, there's a panel all the way across the side that tells what fuse goes to what component and what amperage it is, plus the amperage is right on the fuses. So you can take, what works best for me is a long nose pliers. It's tough for me with my fingers to get a hold of this and pull it out. Some can do it, and you can check that to see if it's burnt, and then you can put it back in. But that's kind of rare. Okay, again, we covered everything outside and everything inside. My name is Bruce Lindy. I'm the Jayco Towable Sales Manager. Thanks again for checking in. Check us out at vaughrv.com. Our phone number is 817-831-1800. See us for all your parts, sales, and service needs. Have a great day.
Thanks for watching our video. If you have any questions, be sure to drop a comment below. Or if you have any suggestions on content you'd like to see, we'd love to hear about that. Go ahead and give us a like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks again from VaughrV.